Welcome, everybody, to Wall Street Reporter's Discovery Day live stream. We are back with Stria Lithium. And again, our goal is to bring you those stocks which have that multi-bagger upside potential. And right now, Stria is at the inflection point. And we're going to be speaking with Dean Hanisch, the CEO. We're going to be going into all the details. But I think, Dean, before we even get started, I want to mention three key things that people really need to be aware of. Again, we're really in the early stages of this, EV transition. Lithium is a major component of these EV, these battery metals, the batteries and everything else. And again, the lithium stocks have been on fire. And there's three things that, again, investors need to know about Stria. Number one is you've recently doubled the size of your land position in what we've been calling the Saudi Arabia of lithium, which is James Bay, Quebec. That's your Pontax project. You're surrounded by majors, Patriot Battery Metals, Brunswick, Lyft. Again, these are all companies, $400, $500 million valuations, $1 billion valuations in the case of Patriot. And we're awaiting the resource to come in from your Pontax project, right, which the drilling has been going on for a while. That should be coming in about 4 weeks. And the amazing thing is you are really cashed up right now. The company has, I think, almost over $4 million in what I'm calling cash or equivalents. The valuation is only $5 million. The market cap is only $5 million. So you're basically getting the company for free, and there's massive blue sky potential with this new project. And things are looking very exciting. So, Dean, now that I've done the intro, welcome back to the program.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I want to talk about something real quick because, one of the things I always like to look at with stocks is, okay, what's the downside? Like, what's the downside? Because if you take care of the downside, the upside takes care of itself, right? Now, again, it's always risky with mining stocks and everything, but here's the reality. The market cap of Stria today is $5 million, right? You have $2 million in cash. You got $2 million in shares that you got from Cygnus, your partner, and those shares are actually up. So you're close to. I think we're getting very close to almost the company's trading at. I
think they're at 34 cents. So yeah, this might be maybe 2.7 of value.
Yeah. So basically, let's say if somebody looking at this company, if they're buying the whole thing for $5 million, they're getting 4.7 back, and they're getting all this property in, again, the Saudi Arabia of lithium. So it's an amazing setup. Now, let's talk about. Okay, one thing I want to get an update on. We're waiting for the resource estimate to come in, right? This is from Cygnus. This is on the Pontax project.
Yeah, so our Pontax Central project, back to your point about the 4.7 out of the 5, you're also getting a more advanced stage project than just land, right? If you look at Pontax Central, it's had, a lot of drill holes in it. We're looking at Cygnus putting out a resource estimate, like you said, within maybe the next 4 weeks. And if they get anywhere close to 10 million metric tons whether they get it or they keep drilling, it's pretty advanced stage. And usually, companies are getting 100 million market cap for that, of which you could, deduct that we're a 49% owner of that after this 51% that Cygnus actually put into the ground and earned. So yeah, it's exciting. We have that, but then even more exciting is our new project, so not only do we have like real lithium that we found at Pontax Central, but if you look over at Pontax 2, and if you look from the last press release and you saw those high grade, tantalum oxide grains, they were off the charts. So, we're excited to actually get at Pontax 2 more than anything. We're supposed to be there now and would already have our samples if it wasn't for the forest fires that have been going up there. So, we're just on standby, ready to get in and follow up on those and get at it. So, we have found lithium, and we are now looking at a new zone that looks like it has potential for some serious high grade potential, and we just have to find out where those high grade grain counts were coming from and look for those pegmatites. So we're ready to go.
So I want to get into that. So last week, when you released the news about the till samples, right? I mean, the stock started running because I mean, the numbers, like you said earlier, I mean, like, and what from the experts have been saying, I mean, they're like basically off the charts. They're really, indicating the potential for some significant lithium there. Correct me if I'm using the wrong.
Well,
I want to make sure I'm
yeah,
not.
the right term would be that we're in the 97th centile for what was taken, and that's based on the area. So we're fortunate that that these till samples for tantalum were taken by the government as well already. So we have something to compare it to, and we know what people have found in the area. So that's why it's exciting for us. I mean, till samples, you could say, well, they come from anywhere, but when it's a whole area that's been done, and then there's drilling that's been followed up, and exploration work has been followed up on other people's properties, we can see the value of them. So in that other slide that you had from last week, it kind of shows what they were. So yeah, they're extremely high. We're really excited to get onto the property and look at where they're coming from. There was a cluster of them, so we kind of know generally if, like at Pontac Central, it wasn't very far. It was almost on top of the pegmatite.
Now this new project, Pontax 2, which you're picking up, and VC2,
yeah.
VCT. So this basically is, I mean, I don't know if this is actually bigger than the original Pontax project.
Yeah, it is bigger. I mean,
land position, right?
It's a large enough land position as a standalone, and I think that's the important part when you're doing exploration. But the most exciting part for us is like where you see, again, I don't know if you have that other map, but where you see the Pontax 2, the cluster was a little bit south of that, and we know that it's kind of coming from the north. The important part is not the size, but just make sure that we have enough property that we would capture anything if it was coming from north. And that's why we grabbed the VCT option, which will be part of our Pontax 2 claim, because we know that it was trending. The glaciers, when they came down, were kind of trending to the southwest. And so it was important for us to get that. So yeah, the land's there. We have the first clues are excellent, better than anyone else in the region. So now we just have to go follow up on it, and the proof is in the pudding, as they say. So we want to get at it.
Okay, so the next step. Okay, so you got the till samples. So the next step is, again, what's the next step? You're sending out a crew there to collect more data. What are they doing?
So they know where the till samples were, okay, and the high grade. And from there, they're visually able to see, like, the pegmatites. A good thing about lithium, it's not like gold. I mean, where you have to chase veins, and some of it's visible. You can actually see the pegmatites. You can actually see a lot of times spodumene in it. And then, so they'll look for those, and then they'll go out and take chip samples or channel samples and break them up, take them, bring them back, and then we'll start testing them in order to look for, potentials for drilling in the future. So when we have those samples of the actual pegmatites, we can run them and run the assays. And if we see that the assays come back decent, then that would be a site for us to then go drill.
Okay, we got an audience question here. So when will the fires clear, or will they continue to go on, as we are hearing that they're being set so no one can get in there to get the is this a conspiracy? Somebody setting fires so we can't get to the
So a lot of well, I mean, you see a lot of that on the internet.
No, was that a serious? I don't know if he was making a joke, or this is actually.
No, I think on the internet you see a lot of theories into that. I think for where we are, the fire, we don't have an issue anymore in our region. So it's not it's different where we are, but it's not as forested in that anyway. But so the region we're in, we can go in tomorrow. So the problem isn't that. For us, the problem is that all of the helicopters where we wanted to get dropped to go look at different things, so we can walk into it, but we can also, there's areas where we need helicopter assistance. I mean, we only have, like, say, a 9-day program. We got to do the most that we can. We want to get in there, but the helicopters are all being used by the government right now. So you just can't get one. So the fires aren't the issue anymore. It's the access to the helicopter we're waiting on.
Okay. And when do you, when do you expect that? I mean, I don't know, when
Ask
the
Mother Nature.
government will release the helicopters?
That's a Mother Nature question. If I had that, I wouldn't be sitting here.
Okay. So
It's
I mean, it's a question of when. It's like, it could be a week, few weeks. It's not like indefinitely. I mean, at some point, all these
yeah, they take
fires stop and it goes back to normal. So,
Yeah, I think it would go back to normal. I mean, they're using those helicopters to fight fires in other parts of Quebec, right? And so that's the issue. But everybody's going to work together. I mean, we're lucky. The group we use, iOS, they work for a number of different groups, different companies. So the beauty is, he's kind of put everything together. So we'll share the first helicopter that comes in with
okay.
even with some other companies. So everyone's working together. And we just need to get in there. So we're happy about that. We'll get in there.
Who's going there? Who's going there? Like, how big is the crew?
It's there's 5 different people going in. I'm going to go in myself. I was planning to go in as well to look and see visually what's there. I mean, it's a lot. I think it's important that you're telling people a story that you see it yourself, especially on this new project. I want to see where these, high grade samples came from. Look at that. So there'll be 5 geologists, mainly people helping out, to cut the till, as far as cutting the chip samples and channel samples and things like that. So it's enough to do a good reconnaissance in there and do some mapping.
Okay.
And kind of see where the pegmatites, where the outcrops are, things like that.
Okay, I hope you're going to be bringing at least a camera phone so we get some video.
Yeah.
We need some video of this of you on the property, walking the project. And again, this is so as soon as you get the helicopter, it should be how long and what's the file? And after that, like when is there going to be like any type of news update based on what kind of results you get, or what can we see after that?
Well, I think some of it's visual, so they'll be able to see the actual pegmatites, and that will be an announcement to see what we find and the proximity. So that's an important part of this exploration project, is to locate the pegmatites that would be responsible for these grades. The second thing is we'd have samples which we'd put into the lab, and who knows, we might take some other till samples in that as well. So those will go off to be assayed, and then when they come back, we'll definitely be sharing them with everyone.
Okay.
Make a plan to drill.
So once you're out there, let's assume let's call it 2 weeks from now. I'm just going to throw out the number.
Yeah.
Or 2 weeks. Let's say August 1st, right? The fires aren't going to go for it, right? So you're out there in 2 weeks. You're out there, let's call it, I don't know, a week, whatever, to getting this. So you might be putting out a news announcement about pegmatites, within mid-August, based on that, or when? Plus,
I think some of the mapping. I mean, if depending on what they locate, we probably have some information on what they've located.
Okay.
As far as the other assays, they're going to take time, right? That's out of our hands. It goes off to a third-party lab, and they're backed up as well. So that's a different story. But yeah, definitely, we'll have a lot more information once we get there. And you can visually see it. It's better than gold and some of these other things. You can actually see spodumene, and you can see they can tell what they're looking at if they can get at the rock. So we'll see.
Okay, and so very interesting. Okay, so it's like there is a lot of catalysts for the stock right now. I mean the story has really. The Stria story has really shaped up pretty dramatically since we first had you on, because like right now, this is an incredible setup. We got this cheap market cap, $5 million valuation for the stock. You're basically getting the thing for free. Anybody who buys a stock is essentially getting it for free. There's $2 million in cash. There's almost 2.7 worth of stock in this other company that's looks like it's rising. So in theory, this could be a value play. If Cygnus goes up, maybe this thing might have might be worth even more. And then you have all these multiple catalysts here for the big upside. You got this new project, which is completely blue sky potential. Again, it's in this hot area. You're surrounded by all these majors. You got the what do you call it? The resource estimate expected in the next, I don't know, 4 weeks, that could put a valuation of, based on your share, 49%, 50 million plus, if the numbers are good, potentially, right?
Well, I mean, if you just, I can't tell you, what it would be, but I can tell you that you're getting most companies, if you come up with 10 million metric tons, you're looking at about 100 million market cap. So you just do the math backwards. I mean, I do think anyone who takes this company and buys it, I mean, we're trading close to cash, and we have a fantastic blue sky project with better results than anyone's had in till samples across the province. And then you also have a resource estimate. So the resource estimate is coming. It's real. There was a lot of drilling that went into this. There was 15,000 plus meters of drilling. I mean, that's,
I think how much have they spent? Like 7 million or something? Like 5? Oh, what's the spend?
They spent over 4 on the drilling. It's one of those interesting things where pardon?
I'm sorry. I was saying these are like experienced guys. I mean, they know this type of geology.
Well, it's experienced management and leadership, right? If you look at David Southam, where he's coming from, leading $1 billion nickel company in Australia. I mean, the background of the people who started it, they're now putting, a gold company worth 1.5 billion into production. They're serious players. I mean, there's a reason we took their stock too. I mean, we took their stock because they're winners, right? And they're our partners, and they've done a great job, and I'm sure they'll continue to do a great job. And if you look at the resource estimate when it comes out, I mean, the numbers don't lie, right? This is kind of a company opposite of a lot of companies where, there's more happening. It has real meat and potatoes on the ground, and has real things that have happened. We have a resource estimate. We have a fantastic secondary project. We've got excellent operators. We've got money in the bank. We have like 28 million shares outstanding. The market cap is tight. We're not spending a lot of money. We're not spending more money on Pontac Central, and it gives us an opportunity to spend money on Pontax 2, which is exciting. So we're very, responsible with shareholder money. We have a great market cap, and it's just going to hit at some point. I mean, when you only have 25 million shares outstanding, it's very little. So
it's interesting also. Yeah. So one of the things, that I think investors should pay attention to is, again, it's this very tight structure. It's a, small market cap, small number of shares outstanding. And we could see that because, the stock, on a little volume, it really start, like last week, there was a little bit of buying that came in, and it really it rocketed. It's like it was a huge move in the stock. So I think if we get any type of positive, especially sustained positive news flow, there's going to be some, really, interesting things to keep an eye on, is all I would say. And again, also, I think finally, if I'm not mistaken, the insiders have been, accumulating the stock over the last, 6 months.
We're buyers. I mean, if you go on CDI and you watch, the insiders are buying last week too. We would be remiss not to buy.
As they say,
things that you said earlier. I mean,
as they say, right? There's for insiders to sell, there's many reasons. People might need the money, I don't know, for whatever it is. But there's only one reason that an insider buys stock, is because they think it's going to go up, and they usually have better insight than everybody else. So it's like, it's a good indicator. I mean, everything is like it's all the stars are aligned. Like, this is the type of situation we look for, where you have this what I call it's an asymmetric setup, right? You have minimal downside, and then you have this, unlimited upside potential. I mean, it's like all the stars are aligned here. I mean, you got insider buying, you got, major catalysts coming up. You got, the valuation. Again, I'm always very focused on valuation, because I like stocks that have a dirt cheap valuation. Like, you're getting them for free, basically. I call it a built-in profit. Because look, when you buy a stock like this, I mean, all you got to do is just wait. I mean, it takes care of itself. Again, we're not saying it's going to go. We're not making any investment. We're not giving investment advice or predictions here. But Things are looking good. Okay, Dean, when are we going to have you back on? When the helicopter lifts up?
Yeah, when the helicopter lifts up, and I mean, we're excited to get on the ground too. And I'd love to share some of that as well, because I think, lithium's a bit different than other minerals. I mean, any critical mineral going into the EV future that we're going into, cars switching over. I think a lot of people, don't know or may have misconceptions about, the minerals that go into it, right? Because it's not oil anymore. It's now minerals. I mean, based on the, creating batteries that are going to fuel the future. So yeah, I would love to take everybody along with me, because I think it's interesting to see where it comes from, and especially North America, because our governments, both the United States and Canada, will be using North American hard rock lithium. Okay, because that's really what we have mostly. We have some brine, and I mean, people have seen these big brine ponds, but with hard rock, I mean, it's there. You can see it. It's a lot more environmentally friendly in the sense, you can take it out, put the rock back,
Yeah.
and you would never even notice it was gone. So yeah, I think it'd be exciting.
Okay, so we're gonna have that in a couple weeks. And the most important thing is, again, you start touching on this, but again, the location. It's again, we're calling the Saudi Arabia of lithium. This is where we have this huge potential for lithium here in Quebec, and it's right in the heart of automobile production, which is across the water in Detroit, the Midwest. So the thing is right, and you got the infrastructure. You're near a road. So again. So this is something which becomes, economically very attractive for somebody to put this into production, because again, it's not somewhere in some remote location, under, I don't know, a lake.
Which a lot of companies that are doing really well. I mean, they're
right.
Be a long
time.
It's
near a road. It's near a road and processing plants. I mean, it's like it makes basically everything worth much more, right? I mean, it's crazy.
Well, it's just more realistic. I mean, I think at the end of the day, you can invest in a stock and it can do well in exploration, but at some point, the value is in the fact that it can actually go into production and have a reasonable capex. And in this case, anything that comes from Pontac Central or even Pontac 2, where we're adjacent to the road. I mean, it's just a matter of math, right? It's a lot easier to bring, minerals from to New York City from New Jersey across the river than it is to bring it from Albuquerque, right? Or something.
Yeah. Dean, I'm shocked. I'm really shocked that the stock, is still trading at these levels and it hasn't exploded. But you know what? It's not unusual. Some of our biggest winners, some of the stocks that we've had that went up, 10x, 20x, they start off very slow, and then all of a sudden they got it. It's almost like drilling, right? You could be drilling, and you're not getting anywhere. But you might be only an inch away, from striking oil or from striking whatever, and then all of a sudden everybody realizes, they have that aha moment. And I think we're getting close to that aha moment when everybody all of a sudden realizes what's going on here. Again, I'm really shocked that the stock is where it is, because again, it's like a deep value situation right now with all these catalysts. So I think once you hit one of these catalysts, it's gonna just set all the dominoes, down. It's gonna be an amazing thing. So, okay. On that note, Dean, thank you for the update, and hopefully we'll have you back in about 2 weeks, live from the helicopter as you land. Right? You'll be streaming live.
Let's hope we can get up there, and definitely would be great to do something from up there. Thank you, Jack.
Fantastic. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. See you in the next one.
Great. Thank you.